Hey there, folks. This is Harry again, coming to you with another Child's Play movie review. And I don't know why I started with the second movie instead of going chronologically. I guess because it was my favorite and the one I watched the most and the most information about, so it was the easiest to make a video on. But actually, it's funny because I saw Child's Play 2 and 3 many times before I ever saw the original one. Now, I always saw it there at the video store, but it sounding silly. The cover freaked me out so much that it scared me too much and I didn't want to do it. But one day, I was curious. I'm like, you know what? I don't even really know exactly how Chucky got in the doll body in the first place. So, yeah, it would be nice to know how that happened. So, I watched it and as a kid, I'm not going to say I didn't like it. But as a kid, I liked Child's Play 2 and 3, to be honest, much more than the original. Keeping in mind I was only but a 6-year-old kid at the time, so I didn't know very much about film and such, but I've gained a lot of respect for the original Child's Play, and I would say it's my second favorite now after Child's Play 2. I would say Child's Play 2 is my favorite, and then the original, then Child's Play 3, then Bride, and then it goes downhill from there and gets progressively worse, and they might as well all be garbage after Bride of Chucky. I know. Even Bride of Chucky isn't great. Compared to what comes after, it's okay. And, I know people love Tiffany, but I gotta be honest, I cannot stand Jennifer Tilly. I can't. Her voice grates on me. I don't think she's a great actress. And I really think it's her talent per se that got her roles. That's all I'll say about that. I'll get to my Bride of Chucky review eventually, but for now we're talking about the original Child's Play, which it's a classic. It is. Just like A Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Hellraiser. It's a classic. Spawned a great franchise. Everyone knows who Chucky is. So, I'll go over the movie's plot for anyone who hasn't seen it. So, there's a single mom living in Chicago with her, I think he's either 5 or 6 year old, little Andy Barkley, whose father has passed away. They, we never find out what happened to his father, but I'm assuming, I don't know, an accident or something. But anyway, she has to work all the time to provide for him. And at the very beginning, Andy, he's dressed in good guy, PJs, and he's watching Good Guys on TV, and there's a wicked creepy commercial for Play Pals, the company that makes the Chucky dolls. And there's this huge, there's a guy in a huge Chucky suit, and it's terrifying when you see the scene. It really is. And he goes, wow! He's amazed by it. And his mom knows that he wants a doll for his birthday, but her being a single mother, she doesn't make enough money for it. And she comes home, and this is kind of sucky on her part. Don't get me wrong, I love Karen. She's a great character. She's a great mother to Andy. But she put his present in a box that's the exact same size as a Good Guy doll box would be, all wrapped up. Wraps it, and it's not a Chucky doll, it's closed. So he's obviously pissed. And then he goes to open the other one, and he's so pissed. He takes the card and just, he takes the card and goes, throws it away real quick. And it's like a Good Guy toolbox. And he goes, I wanted a doll to go with it, a Good Guy to go with it. And she's like, I know you do, Andy, but I didn't know, and I didn't have enough time to save up for it this month. So a little while later, Karen's at work with her best friend Maggie, who's also her co-worker. And their boss asked Karen to work late. And she's like, it's my son's birthday, come some slack. But the guy makes her work anyway, so Maggie babysits for Andy. But Maggie also found a homeless guy outside selling Good Guy dolls, for much, much cheaper than she could afford. So she goes out back, buys the doll from the creepy peddler guy who got the doll from the burned out toy store where Charles Lee Ray was killed by Mike Norris, the detective cop. Well, talking about. And so Andy and Maggie, Andy is getting ready for bed, brushing his teeth. Maggie is like, are you brushing your teeth? yes, yeah, Maggie. And it's Andy's bedtime, and Maggie says, "All right, Andy, it's time for bed." And Andy tells Maggie, "But Chucky wants to watch the 9 o'clock news." And Maggie's like, "Sure he does." So she puts Andy to bed, and she, Maggie's, eating cake or something in the kitchen, and all of a sudden, kind of a jump scare thing, the TV turns on blasting, and it's the news, and Chucky is sitting in a chair by himself there watching it, and obviously she thinks Andy put him there to screw with her, but even so, she's still kind of freaked out. I mean, she's like sitting there and something runs by real fast, and she looks, she can't see what it is, but she knows something weird is going on. And something got knocked over. I don't know if it was, I think it was flour. Maybe, I'm pretty sure it was flour. But, she's sweeping it up, and she hears something, and she's like, "I'm scaring myself half to death." And right after she says that, she looks up, and boom, gets a good guy toy hammer to the head. It pushes her back, and she actually crashes out the window of this it's actually on the poster. It's a very cool looking apartment building there in Chicago, but she falls out the window, lands on a truck, to her death. And Karen's getting home from work, sees all the cops and, ambulances and fire trucks in front of her house. So she runs in there, and the guy's like, Miss, you can't go in there." And she goes, "I live here." So she runs in, and at first she thinks something happened to Andy, because you can't find him at first. She's like, Andy? And she does some really, really good acting, in my opinion, in this part, because the absolute, like, terror in her voice just says, my son may be dead, something might happen. Or even my best friend, But she finds Andy, thankfully, and she's temporarily relieved, because, this is when she meets Detective Mike Norris, who's played by Chris Sarandon, who also plays the guy in the original Fright Night, which I have not seen, because I'm not the biggest vampire horror guy. I'm just not really into it. Just not my thing. Same as zombies. It's just not my thing. I don't know. Different strokes for different folks, People like different things. Not everyone's gonna like the same things. But there's some, well, remember I said there was spilled flour? So there was spilled flour on the countertop, and these little shoe prints, on the counter to where Maggie got hit and got knocked out the window. and they're little shoes, and the detective puts two and two together and says, "Hey, Andy, let me look at your shoes." And the shoes have little, like, I don't know, like little tools on them. And it goes with that, or with a hammer and a nail or whatever. And Karen gives him the business and says, me and my son have just, my best friend just died. Give us a break here, kind of thing. But, and he's about to leave, but before he leaves, Andy is sitting in his room with Chucky sitting in a chair, and Chucky's feet are like this, so you can see the bottoms of Chucky's feet, which have flour on them. And he runs out of his room and says, Mommy, I know who was on the counter. It was Chucky." and no, and Mike, the cop goes, "You doll?" and that's when Karen pretty much makes him leave. Says, talk to me later. We need a little bit of time to gather our thoughts here. And I will be right back.